The phone slipped from Maya Carter's hand and clattered across the cafeteria floor. It was old, not cracked exactly, just worn. The kind of phone with faded edges and a scratched screen protector that had survived more years than most of the students around her. Laughter erupted instantly. "Whoa! Is that from a museum?" Someone shouted from the football table. Maya froze halfway to her seat. Conversations paused, trays stopped clinking, and dozens of eyes turned toward the small device lying on the tile. A boy in a varsity jacket leaned down, picked it up between two fingers like it might stain him. "Guys, look at this," he called, waving in the air. "Our future tech genius is using a fossil." More laughter. Maya's jaw tightened. Across the room, a group of white students smirked. A few teachers pretended not to notice. The cafeteria lights buzzed overhead like insects trapped in glass. She stepped forward slowly. "That's mine," she said. The boy tilted his head. "Yeah," he replied lazily. "We can tell." He tossed it back onto her tray. The phone hit a carton of milk and slid sideways. "You people always talk about changing the world," he added, shrugging. "Maybe start with buying a phone made this decade." A silence fell for half a second, sharp, cold. Maya stared at the device. Then she looked up at him. Her voice was quiet. "You won't be laughing forever." The boy grinned. "Sure, Maya," he said. "Whatever helps you sleep." But as Maya picked up the battered phone, a notification flickered across its screen. A message from a number she didn't recognize. Your prototype was accepted. She didn't realize yet what that message would cost everyone in that room. Jefferson Technical High School liked to describe itself as a place where brilliance mattered more than background. Maya Carter had learned that wasn't exactly true. The hallway buzzed with voices as students poured out of the engineering wing. Posters about robotics competitions and venture capital partnerships lined the walls like advertisements for a future most students already assumed was theirs. Maya kept her head down. Elena Ramirez caught up beside her. "You okay?" Elena asked quietly. Maya shrugged. "Just another lunch period." They stepped into the cafeteria. The room smelled like reheated pizza and plastic trays. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, reflecting off chrome tables. Maya set her tray down. The phone incident had already started. Jason Whitmore leaned back in his chair, spinning Maya's device between his fingers. "Look at this thing," he announced. Several students laughed. "Jason." Elena muttered under her breath. "Just ignore him." Maya walked toward the table. "That's mine," she said. Jason examined the phone like a collector studying an artifact. "Is this the original iPhone?" he asked loudly. His friends snorted. "Careful," one of them said. "It might disintegrate." Jason looked up at Maya. "You're in the advanced engineering track, right?" "Yes." "And this is your phone?" "Yes." He held it up. "You build robots, but you can't afford a decent phone?" More laughter. Across the room, a teacher glanced over briefly, then returned to grading papers. Maya reached for the device. Jason pulled it back slightly. "What's on it?" he asked. "Secret NASA code?" "Give it back." He studied her face for a moment. "Relax," he said. "Just try and understand the economic diversity program." Elena stood up. "Jason, stop." Jason dropped the phone onto Maya's tray. Milk splashed across the plastic surface. "You people always talking about innovation," he said casually. Maya froze. The phrase hung in the air like a stain. "You people," someone whispered. Maya wiped the phone carefully with a napkin. Her voice stayed steady. "You won't be laughing forever." Jason leaned back in his chair. "Sure." The bell rang a minute later. The cafeteria emptied. The robotics lab was quiet after school. Maya preferred it that way. Rows of workbenches stood under bright fluorescent lights. Half-built drones and mechanical arms filled the room like sleeping machines. She plugged her old phone into a laptop. Code flooded the screen. Elena watched from the doorway. "You're still working on it?" Maya nodded. 3 years, she said, almost ready. Lines of software scrolled across the monitor. "What exactly does it do again?" Elena asked. "It lets older hardware run modern applications," Maya said. Elena blinked. "Like making old phones new again?" "Exactly." Maya lifted the device. This thing shouldn't be trash, she said. Most devices die because software abandons them. So you fix that. I'm trying. Elena shook her head slowly. You know, companies spend billions trying to do that. Maya didn't respond. She typed another command. The phone screen rebooted. A clean interface appeared. Fast, smooth. Elena's eyes widened. Holy! It works, Maya said quietly. A notification popped onto the laptop. National Student Innovation Competition. Submission received. Elena grabbed her shoulders. You submitted it? Yeah. Do you realize what this could? A noise came from the hallway. Footsteps. Someone paused outside the lab door. Maya didn't notice. Inside the hallway, a student raised his phone camera. Click. The screen captured Maya's prototype interface. The student typed a quick message. You might want to see this. The message was sent to a private contact labeled Jason Whitmore. Inside the lab, Maya smiled faintly at the glowing phone screen. For the first time all day, she felt hopeful. She didn't see the shadow moving down the hallway, and she had no idea that somewhere across the city, a billionaire was about to learn her name. Daniel Whitmore's office overlooked half of San Francisco. Glass walls, white marble floors, a view that reminded visitors exactly how far above the city he sat. Daniel Whitmore didn't look up when his phone buzzed. He was studying a presentation on the conference table. Engineers from Whitmore Technology stood stiffly nearby, waiting for his reaction. This doesn't solve the problem, Daniel said flatly. One of the engineers cleared his throat. Sir, the new operating layer improves compatibility with older hardware by 12%. 12%, Daniel repeated. Silence. That doesn't extend device lifespan. It delays replacement by a few months. The room stayed quiet. Whitmore Tech had been chasing the same idea for 4 years. A universal operating system capable of modern performance on outdated hardware. If they cracked it, they would control the budget device market worldwide. But every attempt failed. Daniel's phone buzzed again. This time he glanced at it. A message from Jason. Attached, a photograph. Daniel frowned slightly and opened it. A laptop screen, lines of code, a phone interface. The caption below it read, "Some girl at school built this. Runs like a new phone on old hardware." Daniel zoomed in. His eyes sharpened. He leaned forward slowly. "Excuse me," he said quietly. The engineers watched as he stood and walked to a window. He zoomed further into the image. The architecture looked familiar, but cleaner, elegant, efficient. Whoever wrote it understood exactly where previous attempts had failed. Daniel typed one short reply. Give me everything you can. 3 days later. Advanced Programming, Jefferson Technical High School. Mr. Feldman stood beside projector. Before we start today's assignment, he said, adjusting his glasses, I want to highlight a student project that shows exceptional problem solving. Jason Whitmore leaned back in his chair. His friends barely looked up. Mr. Feldman clicked the remote. Code appeared on the screen. Several students murmured. This architecture, the teacher continued, is designed to allow older hardware to run modern software environments efficiently. Jason's head tilted slightly. Mr. Feldman continued. The student who built it has been working on this quietly for years. He looked toward the middle row. Maya Carter. Maya looked up from her desk. The room shifted. Jason turned in his chair slowly. That system, Mr. Feldman said, is one of the most creative engineering solutions I've seen from a high school student. Maya felt dozens of eyes settle on her. Jason smirked. Wait, he said loudly. The phone, girl? A few students laughed. Mr. Feldman frowned. Yes, Maya. Jason leaned toward one of his friends. Guess the museum phone has secrets. More snickers. Maya kept her voice calm. It's just a prototype. Jason turned back around. Sure, he said, but his expression had changed. He looked interested now. Friday afternoon, the school's innovation panel met inside a small conference room. 3 teachers, 1 local business advisor, a laptop connected to a projector. Maya stood at the front of the table. Her phone sat beside the keyboard. Go ahead, the advisor said. Maya inhaled slowly. This system is designed to extend the life cycle of consumer electronics, she explained. She launched the demo. The phone rebooted. A new interface appeared instantly. One of the teachers leaned forward. That's fast. Maya nodded. Traditional operating systems require newer processors. This architecture shifts resource management to a lightweight modular framework. The advisor blinked. In English, Maya allowed herself a small smile. It makes old phones work like new ones. Silence. Then the advisor laughed. That's actually huge. Mr. Feldman folded his arms, impressed. How long have you been developing this? 3 years. The advisor whistled softly. You realize companies have spent billions trying to do exactly that? Maya nodded. I know. He studied her carefully. Why? She lifted the phone slightly. Because most people can't afford to replace devices every 2 years. The room fell quiet. Mr. Feldman smiled faintly. Thank you, Maya. 2 weeks later, the cafeteria television flickered on during lunch. Students barely noticed at first. Then someone turned up the volume. Breaking technology news today. Whitmore Technologies has announced a revolutionary new operating system designed to dramatically extend the lifespan of consumer electronics. Jason sat frozen. The screen showed a sleek presentation stage. Daniel Whitmore stood behind a podium. Today, he announced confidently, we introduce EverCoreOS. Slides appeared behind him. Architecture diagrams. Efficiency models. Device longevity projections. Maya stopped eating. Her eyes locked onto the screen. Jason watched her. The diagram looked familiar. Too familiar. Maya's tray slowly slid aside. Elena leaned closer. Maya, the television continued. EverCoreOS allows older hardware to run modern applications at near-native performance levels. A demonstration phone rebooted. Fast. Smooth. Exactly like Maya's. Maya stood up slowly. Jason raised an eyebrow. You okay? He asked casually. She turned toward him. That's my system. Jason laughed softly. Your system? Yes. He shrugged. Pretty sure my dad's company has thousands of engineers. You stole it. Jason leaned forward. Careful. You saw it in the lab. Jason smiled slowly. Let's say I did. Maya's hands tightened. You sent it to him. Jason's voice dropped. Even if I did, he said quietly, who do you think people will believe? Maya stared at him. He gestured toward the television. A high school student with a museum phone, he said, or a billion-dollar tech company? His smile widened slightly. Be realistic. Maya didn't answer. She turned back to the screen. Daniel Whitmore's voice filled the cafeteria. EverCore will change the future of technology. Students around them watched in admiration. Applause echoed from the broadcast audience. Maya felt something inside her chest go completely still. Jason leaned back in his chair. Looks like someone already beat you to it. Maya stared at the glowing screen. Her code, her architecture, her idea, presented to the world. And suddenly she understood something terrifying. They hadn't just stolen her work. They had erased her from it. The principal's office smelled faintly of lemon polish and old paper. Maya sat in a leather chair across from Principal Harding's desk. Elena sat beside her, hands folded tightly together. A framed photo of Jefferson Technical's newest robotics trophy hung on the wall. Another frame showed Daniel Whitmore shaking hands with the school board. Maya noticed it immediately. Principal Harding cleared his throat. So, he said, adjusting his glasses, you're claiming Whitmore Technologies stole your idea. I'm not claiming, Maya replied. They did. Harding leaned back slowly. That's a serious accusation. Maya slid a printed diagram across the desk. This is my system architecture, she said. She placed another paper beside it. This is their announcement. The diagrams looked almost identical. Harding studied them for a few seconds. Then he folded his hands. Maya, he said calmly, Whitmore Technologies is one of our school's largest sponsors. Elena shifted uncomfortably. That doesn't change what happened, Maya said. Harding's expression tightened. What you're suggesting, he said carefully, could damage very important partnerships. My work was stolen. Harding sighed. You're a very talented student, he said, but sometimes ideas overlap. Maya stared at him. This is an overlap. He slid the papers back toward her. I recommend you focus on your education. Elena leaned forward. She is proof. Harding's voice hardened slightly. Young people sometimes misunderstand how the industry works. Maya felt something cold settle in her stomach. You mean rich companies take ideas? Harding didn't answer directly. I'm advising you, he said slowly, not to make accusations you cannot legally defend. Silence filled the office. Meeting dismissed, Harding said. The hallway outside felt louder than usual. Elena grabbed Maya's arm. That was unbelievable. Maya walked toward the lockers. They're protecting him. Of course they are, Elena said. His company funds half the labs here. Maya stopped. So what? She asked quietly. I just pretend it didn't happen? Elena hesitated. Maya, what? Maybe you should. Maya looked at her. You're serious? I'm trying to protect you. Maya's voice rose slightly. They stole my work. Elena lowered her voice. And they're billionaires. The words landed heavily. Sometimes, Elena continued carefully, the world isn't fair. Maya turned away. That doesn't mean I accept it. Later that afternoon, Maya found Mr. Feldman alone in the robotics lab. He looked up when she entered. I heard you went to Harding. Yes. Mr. Feldman sighed. How did that go? You already know. He nodded slowly. Maya placed her laptop on the workbench. I need to know something, she said. What? She opened her project files. Hundreds of code commits filled the timeline. You saw this system before Whitmore announced theirs. Yes. You know it's mine. Mr. Feldman rubbed his temples. Yes. Maya waited. And, she asked. He looked directly at her. Maya, your design is extraordinary. Relief flickered briefly in her chest. But, he continued quietly, Whitmore Technologies employs over 5,000 engineers. That doesn't change anything. No, he said, but their legal department employs over 200 lawyers. Maya crossed her arms. So what are you saying? I'm saying, he replied carefully, if you try to fight them, they will bury you. With what? Time, money, procedure. Maya stared at him. They stole from a student. Mr. Feldman's voice softened. I know. So help me prove it. He hesitated. You already proved it, he said. That's not enough. No, he admitted quietly. It isn't. That night, Maya sat at her bedroom desk. Her laptop screen glowed in the dark. Folders filled the display. Prototype V1, Prototype V2, System Kernel Draft. She opened the version history. Every change she had ever made was recorded. Date stamps, commit logs, development notes. Maya began organizing everything. She created a new folder, Evidence. Inside it she copied early architecture sketches, system build logs, video recordings of test runs, competition submission confirmation, time-stamped code commits. Her fingers moved quickly. Elena watched from the bed. You're still doing this? Yes. You heard Feldman? Yes. Elena shook her head. You're fighting a company worth $40 billion. Maya didn't stop typing. I'm fighting the truth. That's not the same thing. Maya paused. Maybe not, she said quietly, but it's the only thing I have. She opened a cloud storage window. Encrypted upload. File after file transferred. A backup appeared online. Then another, then a third. If something happens to my laptop, Maya said, this still exists. Elena exhaled slowly. You're really doing this? Yes. The upload bar finished. 100%. Maya leaned back in her chair. For the first time all day, she felt slightly calmer. Then her email notification chimed. One new message. Unknown sender. She opened it. The message contained only one sentence. Stop digging if you know what's good for you. Maya stared at the screen. A second line appeared below it. Some ideas are not yours to claim. The letter arrived on a Tuesday morning. It wasn't addressed to Maya Carter, student. It was addressed to Maya Carter, Innovator. The envelope was thick, embossed with silver logo. Whitmore Technologies. Maya stared at it on the kitchen table. Her mother poured coffee nearby. Who sends a high school student corporate mail? She asked. Maya didn't answer. She opened the envelope slowly. Inside was a neatly printed letter and a thin stack of legal documents. Her mother glanced over her shoulder. What is that? Maya read silently for several seconds. Then again, then a third time. Her mother's voice softened. Maya slid the letter across the table. Her mother read aloud. Whitmore Technologies recognizes your academic potential and would like to offer you a full scholarship opportunity through the Whitmore Future Innovators Program. She blinked. That sounds good. Keep reading, Maya said quietly. Her mother turned the page. The scholarship terms were written in calm, polished language. One clause stood out. Recipient agrees to acknowledge Whitmore Technologies as the original creator of Evercore OS. Her mother stopped. What does that mean? It means they want me to admit the system was always theirs. Silence filled the kitchen. Her mother read the next line. Recipient agrees to cease any claims, public or private, regarding intellectual property associated with Evercore. She looked up slowly. They're paying you to stay quiet. Yes. Her mother placed the papers down carefully. How much is a scholarship? 4 years of tuition. Stanford or MIT. Her mother exhaled slowly. That's life-changing. Yes. Neither of them spoke for several seconds. Then her mother asked quietly, What happens if you don't sign? Maya already knew the answer. I guess we find out. 2 days later, Maya sat across from 2 lawyers in a downtown office building. Both wore identical gray suits. Both smiled professionally. One slid the document across the table again. Miss Carter, he said, this agreement is extremely generous. I didn't ask for generosity. You deserve recognition for your potential, not my work. The second lawyer folded his hands. Whitmore Technologies developed Evercore OS through extensive internal research. Maya didn't blink. You're lying. The room cooled slightly. The first lawyer remained polite. We are offering you an opportunity to erase myself, to secure your future. My future is my work. The lawyer leaned forward. Sign this, he said softly, and the future is yours. Maya stared at the paper. Stanford, MIT, for years paid, her mother's medical bills, their apartment rent, everything solved. All she had to do was write her name and disappear from her own invention. Maya slid the document back across the table. No, the lawyers didn't react immediately. Miss Carter, the second lawyer said carefully, you should understand something. I do. Whitmore Technologies has significant resources. So do I. He raised an eyebrow. What resources? Maya stood. The truth. The first lawyer sighed quietly. Truth, he said, is rarely enough. Maya walked out. The consequences arrived faster than she expected. Her phone rang the following afternoon. It was the electronics repair shop where she worked weekends. Hey, Maya. The owner said awkwardly, I'm gonna need to let you go. What? Corporate complaint. About what? They said you use company tools to develop proprietary software. That's not true. I know, he said quietly, but I can't fight a company that size. The call ended. Maya stared at the phone. 3 days later, she checked her college application portal. Her Whitmore scholarship application was gone. No explanation, just a blank status page. The rumors started the following week. In the hallway, in the cafeteria. Did you hear? They said Maya copied her project from some online forum. I heard the competition committee is investigating. She might get disqualified. Elena slammed her locker shut. This is ridiculous. They're destroying her reputation. Another student whispered nearby. Jason Whitmore leaned casually against the wall. You can't destroy something that never existed, he said. Elena stepped toward him. You know exactly what your family did. Jason shrugged. My dad builds technology. Maya built that system. Jason smiled slightly. According to who? Elena pointed down the hallway, according to her. Jason laughed. Yeah, he said, that should hold up great against a billion-dollar company. Maya arrived at the locker beside them. Jason glanced at her. You're making things harder for yourself, he said quietly. I'm not the one stealing. You're the one losing. Maya closed her locker. Not yet. Jason shook his head. You don't understand how this works. Then explain it. He stepped closer. You made a mistake. What mistake? You said no. Maya studied his face. And you think that scares me? Jason's smile faded slightly. No, he said. I think reality will. He walked away. That night, Maya sat at her desk again. Her laptop displayed a growing folder. Evidence. More files appeared. Email screenshots. Code archives. Competition timestamps. Mr. Feldman's earlier comments. Even the threatening message. Elena leaned against the doorframe. They're squeezing you from every direction. Yes. School administration. Yes. Whitmore's lawyers. Yes. Rumors. Yes. Elena sighed. You could still sign the agreement. Maya didn't look up. Maybe they'd even restore the scholarship. Maya finally turned her chair. And tell the world I lied? Elena hesitated. You'd survive? Maya thought about that word. Survive. She looked back at the glowing screen. I didn't build this system to survive. Then why? So people like us don't get erased. Elena watched her carefully. You know they're not done yet. I know. And they'll keep pushing. I know. Silence filled the room. Finally, Elena asked, so what are you going to do? Maya closed the evidence folder, then opened a new document. Its title read, Legal Complaint Draft. Her fingers hovered above the keyboard. Then she began typing. I'm going to fight. The email arrived at 2:13 a.m. Maya almost ignored it. Her inbox had been flooded with spam, threats, and anonymous insults since Whitmore Technologies launched Evercore. Most messages followed the same pattern. Stop lying. Stop embarrassing yourself. Stop chasing attention. This one looked different. The sender's address was encrypted. The subject line read, You're not crazy. Maya stared at the screen. Then she opened it. The message was short. They stole it from you. Below that was a second line. I can prove it. Maya leaned forward. Her heartbeat slowed. A file attachment sat beneath the message. She downloaded it carefully. Inside was a compressed folder. When she opened it, dozens of documents appeared. Internal emails, technical notes, engineering reports. Each file carried the same corporate header. Whitmore Technologies, confidential. Maya opened the first email. Her breath caught. From Aaron Blake to Evercore Development Team subject. External prototype. The message read, Jason Whitmore forwarded a system design captured from a student device. Architecture appears promising. Daniel wants the team to replicate core structure immediately. Maya read the message twice, then 3 times. Her hands trembled slightly. Another message followed. From Daniel Whitmore. We will refine the framework and release under Evercore branding. Do not reference the source in internal documentation. Maya closed the laptop slowly. The room felt very quiet. Her phone buzzed. A new email appeared from the same sender. Now you know. Maya typed back. Who are you? 3 minutes passed. Then a reply arrived. My name is Aaron Blake. Another line appeared. Junior Systems Engineer, Whitmore Technologies. Maya's fingers hovered over the keyboard. Why are you sending this to me? The typing bubble appeared. Stopped. Appeared again. Finally, the response arrived. Because it's yours. The next afternoon, Maya sat in a quiet corner booth at a coffee shop 2 blocks from Whitmore Tech's headquarters. Rain tapped softly against the window. She checked the door again. A man stepped inside. Late 20s. Thin build. Dark circles under his eyes. He scanned the room nervously. Maya raised her hand slightly. He approached the table. Aaron, she asked. He nodded. You're Maya Carter. Yes. He sat down carefully. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Finally, Aaron exhaled. I shouldn't be here. Then why are you? He pulled a flash drive from his jacket. Because they're wrong. He placed the drive on the table. Maya didn't touch it yet. You're an engineer there, she said. Yes. You helped build Evercore. Aaron shook his head immediately. No, you didn't. We rebuilt it. Maya's stomach tightened. Aaron rubbed his hands together nervously. The system architecture came from you. How do you know? I saw the original files. Maya leaned forward. Jason sent them? Aaron nodded. Your prototype screenshot circulated internally. The leadership team flagged it as externally sourced innovation. Maya felt her chest tighten. They never contacted me. Aaron gave a short, humorless laugh. They weren't planning to. He pushed the flash drive closer. Everything is on there. What exactly? Internal communications, engineering instructions, development logs. Maya looked down at the small device. Proof? Yes. Why risk this? Aaron leaned back slightly. You ever spend 4 years working on a project you believed in? Yes. And then watch someone steal it? Maya met his eyes. Yes. Aaron nodded slowly. That's why. A long silence settled between them. Finally, Maya asked, Do they know you're talking to me? Aaron's jaw tightened. No. And if they find out? He didn't answer immediately. They'll fire me, he said eventually. Maybe worse. Why worse? Because Whitmore doesn't lose quietly. Maya studied him. You're risking your entire career. Aaron shrugged. Maybe. You're not afraid? Of course I am. Then why do it? Aaron looked out the window at the gray sky. Because the moment I read your code, I knew. Knew what? That someone out there was smarter than our entire engineering department. Maya blinked. Aaron gave a tired smile. And they were pretending she didn't exist. Maya picked up the flash drive. What happens next? She asked. Aaron leaned forward. Next we make sure the truth survives. That night Maya opened the drive. Hundreds of files filled the screen. Internal Evercore development logs, corporate strategy emails, engineering task assignments. Every document told the same story. Whitmore Technologies hadn't invented the system. They had reconstructed it. Around Maya's design, Maya copied everything into the evidence folder. Then she uploaded encrypted backups to 3 separate cloud servers. Elena watched from the bed. Is that enough? She asked quietly. Maya looked at the screen. No. What else do you need? Maya opened another document, a legal complaint template. She inserted the first file into the evidence section, then the second, then the third. Elena, she said softly. Yes. This isn't just a story anymore. Elena swallowed. What is it? Maya pressed save. A case. The legal complaint was filed on a gray Monday morning. 2 days later, the story began spreading. At first, it appeared in small technology blogs. High school student claims billion-dollar company stole software design. Then the larger outlets noticed. By the end of the week, the headline had evolved. Teen accuses Whitmore Technologies of intellectual property theft. Maya noticed the wording immediately. Accuses, not proves, not demonstrates, just accuses. Elena dropped her phone on the kitchen table. This is already turning into a circus. Maya read another article. They're framing it exactly how Whitmore wants. What do you mean? They're not reporting evidence, Maya said quietly. They're reporting conflict. The hearing took place in a federal administrative building downtown. The room was smaller than Maya expected. A long table, a few rows of seats, 3 investigators from the Intellectual Property Review Board, and Whitmore Technologies' legal team, 6 attorneys in dark suits. Maya sat beside her legal advisor, a nonprofit attorney named Denise Carter. No relation. Denise had joked earlier. Now she leaned closer. Remember, Denise said quietly, they will try to make this about your credibility. Maya nodded. Across the room, Daniel Whitmore sat calmly behind his lawyers. He didn't look at Maya. Jason sat 1 row behind him, arms folded, watching. The hearing began. An investigator adjusted the microphone. This proceeding concerns the intellectual property claim submitted by Maya Carter regarding Whitmore Technologies' Evercore operating system. One of Whitmore's attorneys stood immediately, tall, confident. "Before we begin," he said, "we would like to clarify that Whitmore Technologies categorically denies these allegations." He glanced briefly toward Maya. "These accusations appear to originate from a misunderstanding by a student." Maya didn't react. The investigator turned toward Denise. "Ms. Carter may present her statement." Denise nodded toward Maya. "Go ahead." Maya stood. Her voice stayed steady. "I began developing a modular operating framework designed to extend device lifespan when I was 15. Whitmore's lawyer interrupted. "Objection. We will need documentation verifying that claim." Denise responded calmly. "We have documentation." Maya connected her laptop to the screen. A timeline appeared. Prototype development timeline. Commit logs scrolled down the display. Each entry showed code updates. System architecture revisions. Testing notes. One investigator leaned forward. "These timestamps are verified?" "Yes," Maya said. "They were recorded through version control software." Whitmore's lawyer stepped closer to the screen. "Timestamp files can be manipulated." Maya clicked another folder. Video footage appeared. A recording from the robotics lab. Date stamped. Maya demonstrating the system running on her old phone. Mr. Feldman's voice in the background. "That's impressive." The investigator raised an eyebrow. "What date is this recording?" 4 months before Whitmore announced Evercore. Whitmore's lawyer cleared his throat. "Even if the student developed a similar concept," he said, "parallel innovation is common in technology." Maya turned toward him. "This isn't parallel." She opened another document. An internal Whitmore email appeared on screen. Gasps rippled through the room. The subject line read, "External prototype." Whitmore's lawyer stiffened. "Where did you obtain that document?" Denise answered, "From a whistleblower inside Whitmore Technologies." The investigator's eyes sharpened. "A whistleblower?" Maya nodded. "He will testify." Whitmore's legal team exchanged quick glances. Daniel Whitmore's calm expression cracked slightly. Outside the building, reporters gathered. Cameras waited. Headlines updated online. "Teen engineer challenges tech giant." But another headline gained traction faster. "Is student seeking attention from Whitmore lawsuit?" Inside the hearing room, Whitmore's lead attorney resumed questioning. "Miss Carter," he said smoothly, "isn't it true that you entered your project into a student competition hoping to attract investors?" "Yes." "So you were seeking financial gain." "I was seeking recognition." He smiled faintly. "Recognition can look like many things." Maya met his gaze. "So can theft." A murmur spread across the room. The investigator tapped the table lightly. "Let's stay focused." Whitmore's lawyer changed tactics. "You claim Whitmore engineers copied your work," he said. "Yes." "But Whitmore Technologies employs thousands of developers worldwide." "Yes." "So you expect this panel to believe an entire engineering department needed to steal from a high school student?" Maya didn't hesitate. "Yes." Silence. Then one investigator leaned forward. "Why?" Maya pointed to the screen. "Because it worked." The hearing paused for recess. In the hallway, Denise spoke quietly. "You did well." Maya nodded. "But they're still winning the narrative." Denise glanced toward the courtroom doors. "Not if your witness holds." Across the room, Aaron Blake stood near the window, hands in his pockets, watching the rain fall. Maya approached him. "You ready?" she asked. Aaron exhaled slowly. "Ready isn't the word." "Then what is?" He looked toward the courtroom where Whitmore's lawyers waited. "Necessary." Maya studied his face. "If you testify," she said quietly, "your career could be over." Aaron nodded. "I know. And you're still doing it." He gave a small smile. "Someone has to." The bailiff opened the courtroom door again. "The hearing will resume." Aaron straightened his jacket. Then he walked toward the witness stand. Whitmore's legal team watched him carefully. Daniel Whitmore finally looked directly at Maya. For the first time since the hearing began, his expression was no longer calm. Because the one thing powerful companies feared most was someone on the inside telling the truth. Aaron Blake sat in the witness chair with both hands folded tightly together. The room had gone very still. The investigators waited. Whitmore's lawyers watched him with the careful focus of predators studying a wounded animal. Aaron swallowed once. "State your name and occupation," the investigator said. "Aaron Blake," he replied. "Junior systems engineer, Whitmore Technologies." "And how long have you worked there?" 3 years. The investigator gestured toward the display screen. "You submitted internal company communications to this review board." "Yes." Whitmore's lead attorney stood immediately. "Before this testimony proceeds," he said sharply, "we question the legality of these documents." Denise Carter answered calmly. "The whistleblower protections under federal law allow the submission of evidence related to corporate misconduct." The investigator nodded. "Proceed." Aaron exhaled slowly. The Evercore operating system did not originate inside Whitmore Technologies. Whitmore's attorney scoffed softly. Aaron continued. "It originated from an external prototype." Maya sat perfectly still at the table. Aaron turned slightly toward the display screen. "That prototype belonged to Maya Carter." The investigator leaned forward. "How do you know that?" Aaron picked up the printed document in front of him. "Because I was part of the engineering team assigned to replicate it." The room shifted. Whitmore's attorney spoke again. "Mr. Blake, are you suggesting that a billion-dollar corporation copied software from a high school student?" Aaron met his gaze. "Yes." Murmurs rippled through the room. Aaron clicked the remote. A new email appeared on the screen. From Daniel Whitmore. "We will refine the framework and release under Evercore branding. Do not reference the source in internal documentation." The silence that followed felt heavy. One investigator spoke quietly. "Is that message authentic?" "Yes." Whitmore's attorney stepped forward. "Emails can be fabricated." Aaron opened another file. Then another. Then another. Dozens of internal messages filled the screen. Engineering instructions. Development timelines. Task assignments. Every document pointed to the same moment. The day Jason Whitmore had sent Maya's prototype screenshot. The investigator turned to Aaron again. "Were engineers aware the design originated from Ms. Carter?" "Yes." "And leadership?" Aaron nodded slowly. "They ordered us to rebuild the system." "Without credit?" "Yes." Whitmore's attorney's voice hardened. "You're accusing your employer of corporate theft." Aaron didn't hesitate. "Yes." The news broke 2 hours later. First on a technology live stream covering the hearing, then across national media. Whitmore whistleblower releases internal emails. Engineer confirms student's claim. Tech giant copy design. Evidence suggests corporate cover-up. The story spread faster than anyone expected. Within minutes, every major technology outlet had picked it up. Elena stared at her phone. "Oh my God," she whispered. "What?" Maya asked. Elena turned the screen toward her. A financial news broadcast was already live. A ticker crawled across the bottom. Whitmore Technologies stock drops 12%. Inside Whitmore Tech headquarters, executives crowded into conference rooms. Phones rang constantly. Investors demanded explanations. Journalists waited outside the building. Daniel Whitmore watched the news in silence. A senior executive spoke carefully. "Sir, the emails are circulating everywhere." Daniel didn't answer. The television screen showed Maya's photograph beside the headline. "Student engineer at center of corporate scandal." Another headline appeared beneath it. "Whitmore Technologies accused of intellectual property theft." Daniel muted the television. His expression had gone cold. "Find out who leaked those emails." "We already know." Daniel looked up. "Aaron Blake." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Terminate him." "Sir, it's already public." Daniel's eyes narrowed slightly. "Then prepare damage control." But even he knew something had changed. The narrative was no longer under his control. Back at Jefferson Technical High School, the cafeteria television displayed the same breaking story. Students gathered around the screen. "Wait, that's Maya's system. They actually stole it?" "Holy!" Jason Whitmore stood frozen near the back of the room. The headline appeared again. "Whitmore executive email confirms student's claim." Someone in the crowd whispered, Dude, that's your dad. Jason's face tightened. Another student glanced toward him. Didn't Maya tell you this weeks ago? Jason didn't answer. The broadcast continued. Financial analysts appeared on screen. Whitmore Technologies is facing a severe credibility crisis, one reporter said. Investors are already reacting. The ticker updated. Stock down 18%. Jason turned away from the screen. His hands trembled slightly. For the first time since the story began, he looked unsure. Later that night, Maya sat quietly in her room. The television played softly in the background. More headlines, more commentary, more debate. Elena paced the room. You did it. Maya shook her head. Not yet. But the truth is out. Yes. Elena stopped pacing. Whitmore is collapsing. Maya stared at the screen. Whitmore Technologies' stock graph plunged sharply downward. But Maya's expression remained calm, because she understood something Elena didn't yet. Power didn't collapse in a single day. But tonight, the first crack had finally appeared. The decision came 3 months later. By then, the story had traveled everywhere. Technology conferences debated it. Law schools analyzed it. Journalists dissected every email and document Aaron Blake had released. Whitmore Technologies had spent those months fighting. Hundreds of lawyers, endless filings, statements denying wrongdoing. But the evidence refused to disappear. The hearing room was full the morning the regulators announced their ruling. Reporters filled the back rows. Cameras waited outside. Maya sat beside Denise Carter again. Elena squeezed her shoulder before the proceedings began. You ready? Maya exhaled slowly. I've been ready for a long time. Across the room, Whitmore's legal team sat stiffly. Daniel Whitmore was there, his posture straight, his expression unreadable. Jason sat beside him. He looked smaller than Maya remembered. The lead investigator entered the room carrying a thin folder. Everyone stood briefly, then sat again. The investigator adjusted the microphone. This panel has reviewed all submitted evidence concerning the intellectual property dispute between Maya Carter and Whitmore Technologies. The room quieted instantly. Maya felt Elena's hand tighten slightly on her arm. The investigator opened the folder. Our findings are as follows. He glanced briefly toward Maya. The operating system architecture known publicly as Evercore was originally developed by Maya Carter. The words landed like a hammer. Several reporters immediately began typing. The investigation confirms that Whitmore Technologies engineers reconstructed this design after receiving an external prototype. Murmurs spread across the room. The investigator continued. Internal communications demonstrate that senior leadership was aware of the source. Across the room, Daniel Whitmore remained still, but Jason's jaw tightened. The investigator turned the page. Therefore, the panel rules that the intellectual property rights for this software belong to Maya Carter. Silence filled the room for half a second. Then cameras flashed. The investigator finished. Whitmore Technologies must cease exclusive claims to the system and negotiate licensing agreements with the rightful creator. Elena gasped softly. Denise leaned toward Maya. That means you own it. Maya didn't move. For months she had imagined hearing those words. Now they felt strangely quiet. Outside the building, chaos erupted. Reporters crowded around Maya the moment she stepped through the doors. Miss Carter, how do you feel about the ruling? Will you sue Whitmore Technologies? Do you plan to launch your own company? Maya paused, then answered calmly. The truth finally caught up. Cameras flashed again. The consequences hit Whitmore Technologies immediately. Investors fled. Within hours, the company faced multiple lawsuits. Shareholders accused leadership of fraud. Competitors questioned every patent the company owned. Financial analysts appeared on every news channel. This could be one of the largest corporate intellectual property scandals in decades. Whitmore's stock dropped another 20%. 2 days later, another headline appeared. Daniel Whitmore resigns as CEO. The statement cited personal reasons, but everyone understood the real cause. Jefferson Technical High School buzzed with rumors again, but this time they sounded different. Students gathered in small groups discussing the ruling. I can't believe Maya actually won. They tried to erase her, and she beat them. Jason Whitmore stood near the lockers listening. No one laughed when Maya walked down the hallway anymore. Conversation stopped, but the silence carried something new. Respect. Jason watched her approach, then stepped into her path. Maya. She stopped. What do you want? Jason hesitated. For the first time since she had known him, he looked uncertain. I need to talk to you. About what? He glanced around the hallway. Students pretended not to listen. My dad. What about him? He lost everything. Maya studied his face. He stole everything. Jason's voice sharpened slightly. You think this was all me? You sent a prototype. Jason looked away briefly. I didn't think it would go this far. How far? To this. Maya folded her arms. You mean consequences? Jason exhaled slowly. You destroyed my family's company. Maya stared at him. No, she said quietly. Your family did. Jason's expression tightened. You could have taken a scholarship. You could have told the truth. Neither of them spoke for a moment. Finally, Jason said, You could have walked away. Maya shook her head. And disappear? Jason didn't answer. The hallway had gone completely silent. Maya stepped past him, but Jason spoke again. You won, he said. Maya stopped. She turned slightly. This wasn't about winning. Then what was it about? Maya met his eyes. Being seen. Jason had no reply. Maya walked down the hallway. Behind her, the building buzzed with whispers again. But this time, they were saying her name. 5 years later, San Francisco. The Carter Systems headquarters stood where an abandoned warehouse used to be. Glass walls reflected the afternoon sun. Inside, engineers moved between bright workstations filled with prototypes, tablets, and testing rigs. Above the entrance, a simple sign read, Carter Systems. No gold letters. No corporate slogans. Just a name. Inside the main conference hall, Maya Carter stood beside a large digital display. Rows of journalists filled the seats. Cameras waited. A reporter raised her hand. Ms. Carter, 5 years ago you were a student fighting a legal battle against Whitmore Technologies. Maya nodded. Yes. And today your operating system powers nearly 40% of the global affordable smartphone market. Another screen behind her lit up. Charts appeared. Device adoption statistics. Rural access expansion. Millions of refurbished devices running Carter OS. Did you expect it to grow this quickly? Maya shook her head slightly. No. So what changed? Maya glanced at the screen. People realize technology shouldn't expire just because a company wants to sell a new device. A ripple of quiet laughter moved through the room. Another journalist leaned forward. Is it true that Whitmore Technologies now licenses Carter OS? Maya nodded. Yes. Isn't that ironic? The corner of Maya's mouth moved slightly. I think the word you're looking for is appropriate. More laughter. But Maya's tone remained calm. Across the country, Jefferson Technical High School looked almost exactly the same. The same Chrome tables. The same robotics posters. The same television mounted in the cafeteria. Only the students had changed. At a small table near the back, Jason Whitmore sat with a laptop open. His badge hung from a lanyard around his neck. Northline Device Manufacturing, contractor. The company assembled budget smartphones. Most of them ran Carter OS. Jason stared at the screen while the cafeteria television switched to a live broadcast. The words appeared first. Global Tech Summit, keynote address. Then Maya stepped onto stage. Applause echoed to the auditorium on the screen. Students in the cafeteria stopped talking. Wait, that's Maya Carter. The one who went here? Yeah. Jason didn't look up, but he listened. On the stage thousands of miles away, Maya stood behind the podium. The massive conference hall glowed with soft light. Behind her, a giant display showed the Carter Systems logo. 5 years ago, she said, a lot of people believe innovation only belonged to those with resources. The room stayed quiet. I disagreed. A new slide appeared. Old smartphones, broken screens, discarded devices. Technology should extend opportunity, Maya continued, not restrict it. The audience nodded. We built Carter OS with one goal. The slide changed again. A map of the world appeared. Millions of active devices lit up across continents. To make powerful technology accessible to everyone, applause spread through the hall. Back in the Jefferson High cafeteria, students leaned closer to the screen. That's crazy. She started that company? I heard it's worth billions now. Another student pointed at the display. She built that operating system in the robotics lab here. Jason's fingers paused over his keyboard. He watched the screen. Maya looked older now, more confident, but the same calm focus remained in her eyes. The same one he had seen the day she told him the laughing wouldn't last forever. On stage, Maya finished her speech. Technology is about possibility, she said, and possibility should never depend on where you start. The audience rose in a standing ovation. Cameras flashed. The screen behind her glowed brightly. Carter Systems, the company investors once said couldn't exist. The company that now shaped the future of affordable technology. In the cafeteria, the broadcast ended. Students returned to their conversations. Imagine going to school with someone like that. Yeah. Jason closed his laptop slowly. The screen reflected the empty cafeteria table. 5 years earlier, the same room had echoed with laughter. Now it carried something different. Respect. He stood up and walked toward the exit. As he passed the television screen, the last image of Maya remained frozen there. Confident, successful, untouchable. Jason paused for a moment, then continued walking. Across the country, Maya stood alone backstage after the speech. The applause from the conference hall still echoed faintly beyond the curtain. An assistant approached her. Your next interview is in 10 minutes. Maya nodded. Thank you. The assistant left. Maya looked at the quiet hallway for a moment. For a brief second, she could almost hear the Jefferson High cafeteria again. The laughter, the milk spilling across her tray, the old phone sliding across the table. She closed her eyes, then opened them again, because success didn't erase memory. It only proved something stronger. They had tried to erase her, but now the same world that once mocked her ran on her technology.